What would you do if the last $20 in your wallet was all you had left in the world, and a complete stranger asked you for help? Would you walk away? Or would you give it to them, not knowing if you'd even have enough to eat tomorrow? For Samantha Hayes, that moment would change her life forever. Because the man she helped that night was hiding a truth that no one could have imagined. And what happened next would leave an entire city in shock. Samantha Hayes sat quietly on a worn wooden bench outside a small grocery store in Portland, Oregon. The cold November wind brushed through the streets as people hurried past with shopping bags and warm coats. But Samantha had nowhere important to go. At 32 years old, life had not turned out the way she once imagined. Just a year earlier, she had lost her job at a small marketing firm when the company downsized. Then came the eviction notice, the breakup, and months of searching for work that never seemed to lead anywhere. Now she worked part-time cleaning offices late at night, barely making enough to cover rent in her tiny basement apartment. That evening, she opened her wallet and looked inside. One crumpled bill. $20. It was supposed to last her the rest of the week. Groceries. Bus fare. Maybe both if she stretched it carefully. She sighed and stood up, walking toward the store entrance. But before she could reach the door, a quiet voice stopped her. "Excuse me, miss." Samantha turned around. Standing a few feet away was an older man in a worn gray coat. His beard was untrimmed, and his eyes looked tired, but kind. He looked nervous. "I'm sorry to bother you," he said gently. I'm trying to get to Seattle tonight. My wallet was stolen earlier, and I just need enough for a bus ticket." Samantha hesitated. She had heard stories like this before. Sometimes they were true. Sometimes they weren't. Her eyes drifted back to her wallet. $20. All she had. Her mind began racing. What if he's lying? What if I need this tomorrow? But then she noticed something. The man wasn't aggressive. He wasn't begging loudly like others she had seen. He simply stood there, embarrassed. Almost ashamed to ask. And something in Samantha's heart softened. She remembered the nights she had skipped dinner so she could pay rent. She remembered the strangers who once helped her when she felt invisible. Slowly, she pulled the $20 bill from her wallet. "This is all I have," she said quietly. The man's eyes widened. "You don't have to." "It's okay," she said with a small smile. He accepted the bill slowly, almost carefully, as if it meant more than money. "You have no idea what this means," he said. "Thank you." Before Samantha could respond, the man shook her hand and walked away toward the bus station down the street. And just like that, he was gone. Samantha watched him disappear into the crowd. Then she laughed softly to herself. "Well," she whispered. "Guess it's instant noodles again this week." The next morning started like any other. Samantha woke up early, made a cup of cheap coffee, and began checking job listings online. Nothing new. Nothing promising. Around noon, she heard a knock on her apartment door. That was strange. Almost no one visited. When she opened it, a man in a neat suit stood outside holding a tablet. "Good afternoon," he said. "Are you Samantha Hayes?" "Yes. My name is Daniel Brooks. I work for North Star Ventures." Samantha frowned. "I think you have the wrong apartment." "No," he said politely. "We're looking for you." Her confusion grew. "Why?" Daniel smiled slightly. "Because someone asked us to find you." Before we continue this unbelievable moment, if you enjoy emotional stories about kindness, life-changing moments, and unexpected twists, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video. Stories like this remind us that one small act of kindness can change everything. And Samantha's story is about to prove exactly that. Now let's continue. Daniel stepped inside the small apartment and handed Samantha a photo. Her eyes widened immediately. It was the man from last night. The stranger, she whispered. Daniel nodded. His name is Robert Langford. And he's the founder of North Star Ventures. Samantha blinked. That can't be right. But Daniel continued. Mr. Langford is a multimillionaire investor. Last night he was conducting a social experiment. Samantha stared in disbelief. A social experiment? Yes, Daniel explained. For years, Mr. Langford has believed that the true character of a city is revealed in its smallest moments. So occasionally, he travels anonymously, asking strangers for help. Samantha sat down slowly. You're saying, the man I gave my last $20 to is one of the wealthiest investors on the West Coast, Daniel finished. Her head spun. But why are you here? Daniel smiled again. Because out of dozens of people he asked yesterday, you were the only one who helped him. Daniel pulled out a small envelope. Inside was a letter. Samantha opened it carefully. The handwriting was neat and simple. Dear Samantha, last night you gave a stranger your last $20 without expecting anything in return. You didn't know who I was. You didn't know if my story was true. But you helped anyway. Kindness like that is rare. And people like you deserve opportunity. If you're willing, I'd like to offer you a position at North Star Ventures in our community outreach program. Starting salary, $85,000 a year. I believe people who lead with compassion make the best leaders. Thank you for reminding me why I started this company. Robert Langford. Samantha's hands trembled. Is this real? Daniel nodded. Very real. And Mr. Langford asked me to deliver something else. He handed her another envelope. Inside was the same $20 bill she had given the night before. Folded neatly. At the bottom was a small note. Never stop being the person who gave this away. 1 year later, Samantha Hayes stood on a stage in front of hundreds of people. The community center behind her had just opened, funded by North Star Ventures. But the idea for it had been hers. Programs for struggling families. Job training. Emergency housing support. Everything she wished had existed when she needed help. Reporters took photos as Robert Langford stood beside her smiling. When Samantha stepped to the microphone, she paused. Then she held up the same $20 bill. I keep this in my wallet every day, she told the crowd. Because it reminds me that sometimes the smallest decision can change your entire life. That night outside a grocery store, Samantha Hayes believed she was giving away the last money she had. But in reality, she was investing in something far greater. Kindness. Compassion. And the courage to help someone, even when you have almost nothing yourself. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because stories like this remind us that the world still has good people in it. And tell us in the comments. What would you do if someone asked you for help, and all you had was your last $20? Your answer might say more about you than you think. And remember, sometimes the smallest act of kindness creates the biggest miracle.